I'm just going to leave that there because that is extremely controversial in so many ways. I mean, the fact that it was written 15 years ago does not decrease the loadedness of that. Not that I don't agree with it, not that I disagree with it. I'm just saying, if you think about it, that means that women are not respected in the East. That's interesting. And so you come to the point where you realize minority fiqh is actually really controversial. As we go through this, it'll be very, very interesting. And the big thing is, we're going to look at Dar al-Islam, Dar al-Harb. You're going to be interested in that, obviously. The biggest difference, Al-Qardawi says, that occur as a result of a change in place is that between Dar al-Islam and that which is not. In other words, from being in a Muslim country to not a Muslim country. This is in his book about Fiqh al-Aqalliyat. This is a more distinct and all-embracing change than that between being in a city and being in a village, being one residing in a settlement and a nomad, and between the people of the north and people of the south. Dar al-Islam, he said, despite its limitations and shortcomings, helps Muslims practice their commandments of Islam and abstain from prohibitions, as opposed to being elsewhere in the context that this ability does not exist. Now that is extremely important, meaning that because we are in a situation where the cultural protections are not there, the rulings are going to be much more fluid. One of my case studies actually, and I'm looking forward to this one, is, for example, a woman becomes Muslim and her husband remains in Christianity or Judaism. It has to be, unless you really want to go outside the norm here. The public interest of encouraging conversions without saying, okay, but remember, before you convert, your marriage is going to be dissolved and your husband is no longer your husband. Imagine they've been married for 30 years. The classical schools all said it's invalid in different ways, either immediately or later or whatever, but the European Fatwa Council said what? She remains in Islam, he remains her husband, and that's it. But the interesting is urf. We're talking about urf, so we just don't lose the context. The reason why that fatwa is given, and one of the reasons, is quite a fascinating idea. Think about this. There's a European urf which is specific to Europe. So a woman in the Middle East who's a Christian married to a Christian who becomes a Muslim, her marriage is dissolved right away in Lebanon, for example, because Lebanon, despite being the Paris of the East, used to be in the 70s and 80s, but does not have the customs of Europeans, which is what? This is it. The fatwa is possible only in the West where the woman is respected, and this is crucial. I'm just going to leave that there because that is extremely controversial in so many ways.